The Constitution of India. Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Welcome back, children, all my dear 6th standard children. So how are you all? What, very tired after exams? I know that last week was quite hectic, right? But now you have understood how to memorize the concept and how to give answers. Most of you have done well, most of you. Very few children didn't know how to answer the questions. You can also do well in your next exams, but keep trying, okay? So, one thing I noticed during exam was all of you were quite energetic. I asked you, did you have breakfast? And you all said, yes, we had breakfast. So, you have understood the importance of food because our chapter is that, food for health, isn't it? So, last week we understood what are the nutrients present in food items, isn't it? We discussed about one important nutrient and that was carbohydrates. Carbohydrates provide us the energy, isn't it? And this energy keeps us running, answering all questions, running here and there, listening. All these requires energy and this energy is provided by carbohydrates. Today we are moving into the second important nutrient. Before that, shall we see a picture? Yes, look at the picture. Two small children are there. Look at the first picture. Yes, he looks very weak. And look at the second child. Yes, a snappy Gurukulam child. Yes, isn't it? So, what is the difference between these two children? Have you observed the growth in these two children? The first child looks weak because he is lacking the second nutrient. What is the second nutrient? Protein. So, our second nutrient is protein. Because of the lack of proteins in his food, this boy looks very weak. And look at the second boy, he is consuming good amount of proteins and he looks like a snappy Gurukulam child, isn't it? Just like you, okay? So, protein plays a very important role. What happens when you don't take proteins? The lack of proteins will lead to a disease called kwashiorkor. Yes, you can see. How does the boy look? He looks very weak with a protruded belly. So, you can see the boy is very weak with a protruded belly. So, this is a disease called kwashiorkor. How does kwashiorkor come? When you don't take enough amount of proteins. So, children, now do you understand the importance of proteins in your food? Now, you will understand also why midday meals. In midday meals, we provide rice and green gram, isn't it? Green gram contains a lot of proteins. How can you say green gram contains lot of proteins? Yes, in your textbook there is a list which shows the amount of proteins present in each item per 100 gram. Shall we see the list? Rice. For 100 gram of rice, you can have 6.8 gram of protein. Wheat, 11.8. Cashew nut, highest, 21.2. Sardine means mati, 19.6 gram of protein per 100 gram. Duck, 21.6. Duck's egg, 13.5. Hen's egg, 13.3. Mutton, 21.4. Cow's milk, 3.2. Green gram, 24.0, groundnut 17.1. Okay, now you can see the green gram has got 21.4 grams per 100 gram. That is why in midday meals they are providing rice and green gram puluk, isn't it? തോരനായിട്ട് തരും അല്ലേ, ചോറും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കഞ്ഞിയും പയർ പുഴുക്കും തരാം. കാരണം ഇതാണ്. That is why, because you should have equal amount of good amount or right amount of carbohydrates and proteins. Okay, so now do you understand why we have a food chart in the back of our diary, isn't it? So my dear children, now you have understood the importance of carbohydrates and proteins, right? How can you detect carbohydrates and proteins? Which is carbohydrate rich item and which is protein rich item? Can we do that in a laboratory? Yes, it is possible. Take some rice gruel. What is rice gruel? Kanjivallam. So take some rice gruel in a test tube and add some iodine water to it. What happens? You will get a deep blue color. So this deep blue color shows the presence of starch in any food item. You can take any food item which is rich in starch. You can take idli, dosha, or you can take some potatoes. You can dissolve in water and add some iodine solution to it. What happens? It will show a deep blue color. So all starch rich items will show deep blue color if you add a 2-3 drops of iodine solution. How can you detect protein? Protein also can be detected. You take egg white. What is egg? Egg is full of protein. So you take small amount of egg white, dissolve it in water, add 2-3 drops of 1% sodium hydroxide solution. Stir it well and then again add 2-3 drops of copper sulfate solution. You will get a violet color. This violet color indicates the presence of proteins. Any protein rich food item can be taken and this test can be carried out. It will show a violet color. So carbohydrates and proteins can be easily, these nutrients can be easily detected using chemicals. Okay, so now we will move to our third important nutrient, that is fat. Now have a look into the this picture, children. Yes, the first picture shows a bottle of ghee, the second one is oil, maybe coconut oil or olive oil, and the third one is sunflower oil. Well, do you take all these oil items directly? Morning you will have half glass of ghee or half glass of coconut oil you will have? No, all these food items we don't take directly, isn't it? We consume all these food items indirectly. How? Yes, look at the food items. The first picture shows Pazhampuri. The second one is non-vegetarian fried items. The third one is dosha and the fourth one is, yes, it is chips. So when you consume all this, some amount of fat is consumed by our body. So fat is another important nutrient required by our body, but in very small amounts, isn't it? What is fat actually? Fat is a nutrient which provides energy. Other than carbohydrates, fats provide energy also. Then what else? One more important role is there for fat. Fat will help in dissolving some vitamins which we consume. Okay, only if these vitamins dissolve and break up, they will get mixed up with blood. Okay, so which are these vitamins? We are going to learn it. Okay, so fats are very important for two important reasons. One, they provide us energy, little bit of energy other than carbohydrates, and the number two reason is they help in dissolving some vitamins which don't dissolve in water. So such vitamins, they dissolve only in this fat and then only they will get mixed up with our bloodstream. Okay, so that is the reason why we should take only small amount of fat. You know how to detect carbohydrate and protein. Can you detect fat? Yes, look at Rifa. Yes, in your picture Rifa is asking a question. How slimy it is when the lady's finger is chopped. There is a lot of fat in it, isn't it? Is Rifa right? You can always test it. How can a food be tested for fat content? You take a tissue paper, rub the lady's finger on it nicely, dry it and then observe it after some time. If you see a slimy shade there, oily shade there, then that food item will have fat. Lady's finger doesn't have fat, but there are food items which contain a lot of fat, which your mother prepares sometimes, right? Fried items, all these deeply fried items usually your mother collects in a tissue paper. Why? Because this tissue paper will help in absorbing all the extra oil, and after that only you will consume all this, isn't it? So we don't need that extra oil. Very little amount of oil only is required for us. What happens when you consume lots and lots of fat? Yes, there is a man who is saying something about his report. Shall we look into that? I got my blood tested yesterday. The cholesterol is high. Look at his lab report. Blood sugar 80. What is the normal value? 70 to 110 mg. Look at his cholesterol, 230. But what is the normal value? Up to 200 mg. So what is the normal level of cholesterol? 200. But he is having 230. So what does that mean? He is having high amount of cholesterol. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is another form of fat. Apart from the fat consumed by us through food items, our body also manufactures, produces some amount of fat, and that is cholesterol. That is why we are asked to take only small amount of fat in food item, because our body already is producing cholesterol. So that is why we should take only very little amount of fat. When you consume more and more of fatty items or deeply fried food items, what happens? I will tell you. See, this is our blood vessel, okay? Now blood is flowing like this, good blood stream, good flow of blood stream is there. This is our normal blood vessel, and there is good amount of smooth blood stream is flowing here. What happens when you consume more amount of fat? See, this is another blood vessel of a person who is consuming lots and lots of fatty food items. What happens? This cholesterol will adhere to the walls of the blood vessel. Adhere means stick. ഒട്ടിപ്പിടിക്കും. കൊളസ്ട്രോൾ ഈ ബ്ലഡ് വെസലിൻ്റെ ഈ വാൾസിൽ ഒട്ടിപ്പിടിച്ചിട്ട് what happens? The good flow of blood stream is hindered, disturb ആവുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ നല്ലപോലെ രക്തഓട്ടം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. So you can see the cholesterol is sticking here to the walls of the blood vessels. So what happens? The blood is having some disturbance here. See, some disturbance. The walls kanathu kondu aavumbo what happens? The flow of blood is hindered, disturbed. So what happens? It will lead to cardiac diseases. What are cardiac diseases? Stroke, heart attack, all heart related diseases are called as cardiac diseases. So consuming lots and lots of fatty food is not advisable. Why? Because it will lead to cardiac diseases and it will lead to obesity. കൂടുതൽ വണ്ണം വെച്ച് തുടങ്ങും. Consuming lot of fat is not good for required for our body. Our body requires only very small amount of fat. So children, this week we have studied two more nutrients, proteins and fats, right? So what are the three important nutrients in our food item? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Carbohydrates provides energy for our normal day-to-day activities. All our physiological activities require energy, and this energy we get from carbohydrates. Proteins help in the growth and development of our body, isn't it? For the formation of cells, multiplication of cells, hair growth, isn't it? Digestive juice, all these are coming from proteins. And fat, they provide us energy apart from carbohydrates, and they help in dissolving some vitamins. But we require fat only in small amounts. So children, I hope you have understood the concept. We will study about the rest of the nutrients in our coming video session. This week we don't have assignments, but you have to watch the video very carefully. Okay, bye. See you in the next video session.